Hello, I'm Michael Morris, Transportation Director at the North Central Texas Council of Governments and Staff Director to the Regional Transportation Council. I got a terrific call last week from Chairman Bugg from the Texas Transportation Commission telling us or alerting us that it's critical for the state of Texas to focus on Interstate 35, Main Street in Austin. I told the chairman he's focused on the right project. He laid out how he wished to fund it. We are proposing a Plan B, and I told the chairman would come up with a Plan B. As a staff person, it's not my decision. It's the decision of the Regional Transportation Council. So this presentation is the presentation that'll go to my policy body, the Regional Transportation Council, next Thursday, 1 week from today. And then the Regional Transportation Council will decide what they wish to do. So what I'm trying to do is take the experience of the Dallas-Fort Worth region and see how it may apply to help the state of Texas in this particular situation, because we had a very similar project on LBJ in North Dallas, and I wish to walk through our experience and see if this Plan B can get some traction to help the state of Texas. As you can see, there's desire of the Commission to adjust the 2020 Unified Transportation Program and also to adjust the 2021 upcoming Unified Transportation Program. So that's why the slide title is what it is. And this is Dallas-Fort Worth's experience of a Plan B to help Main Street in Austin, Texas. I'll go over the purpose, give some background about DFW, talk about the particular project as we know it. Hard to know a lot about it being far away, but as best we know. And then the opportunity for you to comment. So the purpose is the Commission has a plan. They're asking for comment on their particular plan. I very much believe it's the correct project. 35 in Austin's been drifting at $400 million a year just in the inflation cost of transportation. But I don't think it's the correct approach. I think our plan is great for the neighborhoods. I think it's good for the users of the system, the folks traveling on the corridor. I think it's great for other urban areas of Texas, since we maybe don't have to put money into the project. And I think it's good for rural Texas, since indirectly they're putting money into the project as well. So on 635, this is our LBJ freeway. We coined the phrase no higher, no wider. We were at an impasse for almost 8 years, where the neighborhood next to the freeway was saying we're paying the impacts of people traveling through east-west through our neighborhoods. It's unfair. So we coined the phrase no higher, no wider. Well, what if we didn't take any right-of-way and we either built a tunnel or cantilevered the lanes in the existing right-of-way? Would you be okay? Yeah, we'll be fine. We would need continuous frontage roads to get us east-west, because we're really not going to be the users of the express lanes. So it's a neighborhood preservation. It creates user revenue from those users just on the express lanes. And that revenue is needed to build a more expensive roadway. Why is it more expensive? Because it's no higher and no wider. The impacting party pays, so there's an equity foundation that the long-distance traveler who's impacting the neighborhood is paying a user fee to do that. They win with guaranteed speeds with dynamically priced managed lanes. The neighborhood wins from the depressed or stacked facility with the cantilevered lanes. Freeway users are helping pay for the neighborhood improvements, and it creates a revenue stream for the gentrification policies necessary, meaning you don't want unintended consequences of your transportation investment negatively impacting the neighborhoods. Pretty tight policy, gave us a great experience to build other major projects in the region. LBJ, which you may not know, has 6 frontage roads, 3 on each side, untolled, 8 freeway lanes, untolled. So there's 14 untolled lanes. It has a 6 lane toll managed lane in the middle. So 50%, 57% of the lanes are non-tolled of the freeway lanes, and 70% of the total number of lanes are untolled on that particular facility. We've been saying for years, take LBJ, rotate it 90 degrees and move it 170 miles, and then you have your 35 project in Austin. Spending the last week or so putting this presentation together, it's amazing how similar these two projects are, hoping our Plan B has some impact. Managed lanes are evolving over time. 25 years ago, we could have never predicted all the elements to them. First HOV, quickly toll managed, then dynamically priced. You'll hear the word guaranteed transit. So now transit vehicles can operate with guaranteed speeds of 60 miles an hour. So we'll be implementing transit where if we don't get you to your destination on time, the transit fare is free. We are looking at early deployment of vehicle technologies, eventually driverless trucks, potentially moving trucks maybe from commuter time periods to the driverless trucks through the night on our system of managed lanes. As we get to autonomous vehicles and cars and others, the service volumes of these toll managed lanes will increase significantly as technology continues and improves over time. So managed lanes will always evolve over time. In the Dallas-Fort Worth region, toll managed lanes can only be built in a small percentage of the area, something less to in the 10-15% area, so you have a boundary of where our toll managed lanes can be built. And you can see we're capturing 80-90% of the congestion inside these areas by the darker red maps that you see. So toll managed lanes are extremely strategic. They're very much laser focused, largely around DFW International Airport. Obviously huge gross domestic product for the region. So the system of managed lanes helps continue to drive the economy of the Dallas-Fort Worth region. Here's the effectiveness. So we've been looking at navigational data between the major metro regions of Texas over the last 10 years or so. If you look at, say, TomTom navigational data, DFW Airport's at 18% congested, Austin's 25, Houston's 23, San Antonio similar to Dallas-Fort Worth at approximately half or less the size. But over this 10-year period, we've been looking at the rate of increased congestion. So if you added 1 million people to each of these areas, DFW's congestion would go to 24%, Austin's would go to 39%, Houston's would go to 31%, San Antonio's would go to 28%. And you can see that, you know, it's going to be very difficult for Austin to continue to grow to those levels. So the purpose of this slide simply is to say business as usual in Austin is probably not the right tool, and this Plan B option I think would go a long way and help address the congestion within the Austin community. We will be bringing a grandfathered project as part of our managed lane system. In fact, it's immediately south of DFW Airport. It's already under agreements that have existed and approved by the Attorney General. It's really cool that $162 million will be on widening the freeway, the non-toll freeway part of these projects as trigger mechanisms in these agreements. We will be asking the Commission to approve under the grandfathered provisions the almost $900 million for the critical section at DFW Airport. And in addition, the P3 provider will write a check for $270 million to TxDOT to make transportation improvements outside their jurisdiction so we can lane balance the rest of the system. So the point of this slide simply is we're not asking the Commission to help come to our aid on our managed lane system. We hope to get their approval to grandfather this project so we can proceed. This would be $1.3 billion to continue to improve our system. So what is the plan? We're moving from our learning experience in DFW to the plan at hand. I went ahead and addressed the whole project as best I understood it from 45 north to 45 south. I think it's important to look at the whole project because you have 130 going the same distance. One benefit, I think, is to toggle this project with 130 and create a system between the two. So it's a distance of 27 miles. The commission is proposing 6 continuous frontage roads, non-tolled, 8 freeway lanes, non-tolled. As the chairman told me, they're in a non-tolled environment, so the express 4-lane express lane is non-tolled. By definition, there are 0 tolled express lanes. 100% of the freeway lanes are untolled. 100% of the total lanes are untolled. No revenue is coming from tolled projects because by definition, they're in a non-toll environment on this project. We estimate there's about $1 billion in revenue coming from the Dallas-Fort Worth region to help Austin build that project. Probably a similar dollar amount coming from Houston to build the project. And obviously why I suggested to the chairperson, Chairman Bugg, maybe there'll be a Plan B capability. So since last week, working over the weekend, brainstorming on this project with staff, most of the project is the same. In fact, the project is very much the same lane-wise. 27 miles, no tolls on the frontage road, no tolls on the freeway. You simply build the express lane with a toll component. 67% of the lanes on the freeway are non-tolled instead of 100. 80% of all the lanes are untolled instead of 100. And that would permit the commission to spend $4.3 billion in other parts of Austin and other parts of the urban regions and other parts of the state. So by introducing a toll on 4 express lanes, $4.3 billion would not have to come to this project and could be spent on non-toll projects throughout the entire state of Texas. If you look at how the funds work out, again, as best we can put them together, you have about $2 billion already on the project that the commission has approved previously. Their proposal is to bring in $3.4 billion into the 2020, the existing Unified Transportation Program. They're asking the Austin District and the MPO to delete $600 million worth of projects already approved for other parts of their region. They still need to go into the current Unified Transportation Program for this year, for this summer, get another $300 million into the project. By our estimate, there's about $1.8 billion of unfunded components that if the local government wished to build, it would have to come out of their pocket. By definition, in this option, there's no money from managed lanes because it's in a non-toll environment. It's about an $8 billion project. 75% of the money would come from revenues from other parts of the state. And again, our impact would be about $1 billion that would be put on the project. Plan B, you keep all the money that's currently on the project. You may not need all this money, but you keep it there until the project is completed to make sure everything is done, would be our typical way to do it. You would not need to bring in any money in the 2020 Unified Transportation Program. You would not need to have the MPO in the Austin District delete any projects. You would not need to bring in $300 million into the 2021 Unified Transportation Program. Similar to LBJ, the users of the express lane that are impacting the neighborhoods requiring the no higher, no wider solution, or whatever the equivalent is for the Austin community, those improvements would be paid for by the users of the express lanes. The managed lane system would produce all the money needed for the project. You keep the existing money on the project, so you would have about $10 billion to figure out what's the best way to deliver the project. You would not need assistance from other parts of the state, and being somewhat selfish, you wouldn't need $1 billion from our region. We could go build $1 billion of other non-tolled, critically non-tolled projects in our particular area. What is the implication? Again, looking at our managed lane system and taking a close look at our benefits of our LBJ project. Plan B would meet the long-term needs of the corridor, not just the short-term needs, because it's dynamically priced. You'd have guaranteed speeds. You would have reliability, because you would have the ability of choosing if you wish to be on the express lane, the frontage road, or the non-tolled main lanes. You would have choice, which is an item our citizens are demanding everywhere we go. We would like more choice of different lanes, choice of time of day, prices, choice of different modes. I think to a large extent, we as staff people will be measured by our effectiveness with regard to our diversity of our investments we've made, from bicycle, pedestrian, all the way to high-speed rail. Again, you would have guaranteed transit. You have a technology element because you're introducing dynamically priced facilities. You could be bringing in 5G networks, maybe induction capabilities of recharging electric vehicles and other technology elements into the project. You would have self-funded the gentrification policies necessary to preserve the neighborhoods that are along the corridor. You would have the context-sensitive design elements that the neighborhoods wish to have in the corridor. I like the fact that you could toggle 35 and 130 into a system. So instead of 130 being independently managed different than 35, because you really have no tools to manage 35 currently, you could now have technology tools integrating pricing and other systems between those two, because both projects go all the way to 45 north and south. The construction method is reliable, meaning it can be built on time and on budget, and you would be able to spend $4 billion in other parts of the state as part of this particular initiative. So the comment that staff will be requesting the Regional Transportation Council to make is to offer to the Commission Plan B. This is the experience of Dallas-Fort Worth, and try to get it to be transferred to the community. For years I've been saying publicly I'd be happy to volunteer to help Austin succeed in getting a project that meets the needs of the users of the corridor as well as the neighborhoods. I never imagined I'd be volunteering in this manner. It's a little uncomfortable to be suggesting to a community how best to deliver their particular project. But I feel, and I think the Regional Transportation Council feels, that we owe the state, because of the great partnership we have with TxDOT, our experiences to see if in fact they have value to Interstate 35 in Austin. So we think it's a win for the users of the transportation system, the neighborhoods. Obviously it helps urban regions and rural areas build non-toll projects, and they're part of the state. This information we got from the presentation that was given at the commission meeting last month. They're on a tight time frame, and obviously the purpose of this particular video presentation and going to the Regional Transportation Council so quickly, they wish to take action by April 30th, which is not very much time into the future. So that's the schedule that the commission presented at their last meeting. And here's ways you can make comment that the Regional Transportation Council will decide next week what they wish to do and how they wish to make comment to the commission. Others from the Austin community or across the state may wish to participate in the open discussion with the TxDOT headquarters staff and the commission on how best to deliver this project. That ends a pretty quick presentation on the subject. I believe it's an opportunity for our Regional Transportation Council members to weigh in on the experiences of meeting the delicate needs of transportation users and impacted neighborhoods. They'll make whatever decision they wish to make next Thursday, 1 week from today. And whatever those comments are, they will be given to the TxDOT headquarters staff at those addresses and to the commission. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you today.